Throughout the duration of the war, Aeneas fought alongside his elder cousin Hector, eldest son of Priam and crown prince of Troy, in defense of their homeland. But when it became clear there was no hope in repelling the Greeks, he fled with his father and his wife, Creusa, only to be separated from his beloved in the ensuing chaos. He searched for as long as he could, but the dangers became too great, and he was forced to leave the city. Finding a band of Trojan survivors along the shoreline, the prince took swift command of them, and together they found ships to sail them away from Asia and into Europe. For 7 years the Trojans wandered, from the cities of North Africa to Sicily, and then on to mainland Italy, losing many members along the way, including Aeneas' father, until finally coming ashore along the coast of Latium. They were met by Latinus, king of the Latini tribe, and son of Pan and the nymph Myrca. Once it was established, he and Aeneas were kinsmen, both descendants of Zeus. Latinus welcomed the Trojans into his city and offered them a place as citizens. An ancient town made of white stone, the craftsmanship of which was impeccable, yet paled in comparison to great cities like Troy or Mycenae. Aeneas, by himself now, walked with Latinus, the elderly king, showing the prince the sights. Latinus, seeing an opportunity, arranged for Aeneas to marry his daughter, Lavinia, breaking the agreement he made with another tribal king, Turnus of the Rutuli, months prior to give her to him. This double-crossing resulted in war. And to prove his worth to his new host, Aeneas led the Trojans into the fray, slaying Turnus personally, marrying Lavinia after the battle. The prince's only child, a son named Ascanius, was born in 1192 BC, who would carry on the legacy of the Trojans. It is through Ascanius that the Julia clan, whose most famous member was Julius Caesar, was born via his younger son Julius, and more importantly to our purpose for this story, it is through Ascanius that the British nation emerged via his eldest son Silvius, who became king of the Latini people after him. Silvius reigned long and well over the Latini as his father and grandfather had done, fathering 2 sons, Aeneas Silvius in 1152 BC, and in his later years in 1130 BC, a second son. This son, Brutus, was the pride and joy of his life, full of energy and charisma from an early age, a true heir of Aeneas. Then tragedy struck. While on a hunting trip, Brutus mistook his father for a stag, mortally wounding him. While the prince maintained his innocence, the council of Latini nobles, including his elder brother, refused to believe it. They condemned him as a murderer and wanted his head, but cooler heads prevailed in the end. In part thanks to one of Aeneas Silvius' younger sons, Turnus, who spoke on his uncle's behalf. In the end, they exiled Brutus from Italy, forbidding him from ever stepping foot on Latini territory again. He compiled, leaving soon after, his nephew by his side. Leaving their homeland, the 2 men traveled the seas, being pulled to, of all places, Greece. Why Brutus decided to visit the land of those who destroyed Troy is unknown. But once arrived, he made a good impression on Pandarus, king of Mycenae and high king of the Greeks. Becoming a mercenary in the Greek army, Brutus proved himself in war, earning the respect and admiration from his superiors. For many years he lived in the city of Sparta, enjoying the best that Greece had to offer a capable military man. It was while staying in Sparta that Brutus learned of Trojan descendants living throughout Greece as slaves. Men and women whose ancestors hadn't escaped the burning city as his had, but were captured by their enemies and hauled away in chains. This ignited a fire in the prince, his ethnic pride too strong to allow this to stand. In secret, he formed alliances and built an army. In the 5th year of his stay in Sparta, he rose in revolt against the Greeks. His army comprised not only Trojan slaves, but hundreds of Lydians from North Africa and many native-born Greeks unhappy with the status quo as well. The prince led his army well, winning several victories and taking Sparta itself. Pandarus tried to retake it, but Brutus ambushed him in the forest outside the city, nearly killing him in the process. In a nighttime ambush, Brutus captured the Greek king and gave him an ultimatum. Either allow the Trojans and all those who wish to join them to leave the country, or face certain death. Pandarus agreed, even giving his daughter Inogen in marriage to Brutus to ensure their peace. Leaving Greece behind, Brutus and his people, comprised of Trojan descendants, Lydians, and Greeks, set off to find a homeland for themselves. A few hours off the Greek coast, they made landfall on a deserted island known as Laodicea, where an ancient temple of Artemis awaited them. Brutus and his men walked towards the towering temple, still well preserved even while it was clear from the muck and vines around it that it hasn't been used in decades. Deciding to rest inside the temple, believing the huntress would protect them, the men made camp for the night. During Brutus's sleep, he had a vision of Artemis, the goddess, appearing to him. Artemis, beautiful, radiant, stood before the prince wearing a short hunting dress. Her thick blonde hair cascaded down the center of her back. The two stood in the Elysian fields, one of the realms of the dead in Greek and Roman mythology. A rich landscape of green fields and meadows. She told Brutus of a land to the northwest of Greece called Albion that could offer him and his people what they sought. Home to brave warriors as it was, Artemis assured the prince the people were divided between kingdoms and could be overcome. If she said he succeeded, the kingdom he would create, and the line he would produce would endure throughout the ages to come.